speakers, and my professional friends. A very good evening to all of you. This is the first technical session of the month of April. So let's quickly get to the ground rules. I would request all of you to kindly keep your mics on mute unless you're called upon as a speaker. For any questions which you may have for the speakers, please post it in the chat box. Friends. The shortlisted questions would be put forward to the speaker. Today, we'll be having the technical session on the topic of effective structuring of family business. I'm sure there is going to be a lot of learning and insights from Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani. Subsequent to the technical session, there's going to be an announcement from ICAP President Toastmaster Venkat Ramana about the launch of Speechcraft 2021 and its details. On this note, let me introduce our chairperson, CA Ajay Kumar, to deliver the opening address. Over to you, CA Ajay.
Thank you, CA Bharat. So, respected Speaker of the Day, Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani, all the dignitaries who have kindly joined us today, the President of ICAP Toastmasters, CA Bharat, Venkat Ramana, all the BCICI members and other invited guests, good evening to all of you and welcome to today's webinar. Let me first start by congratulating CA Sharmila, who was the acting chairperson of the chapter for the month of March, and the team of the talented women members of the BCICI chapter for bringing us excellent events during the month of March. So I just wanted to start with congratulating all of you. I also want to commend the efforts of the Bahrain leadership for the unrelenting efforts that they are taking to bring the COVID pandemic under control. And I want to reiterate the support of the Bahrain chapter of ICAI to the vaccination drive being carried out by the government. And I know a large number of our members have already been vaccinated, and I urge the remaining members to register and take the vaccination. In terms of the BCICI activities, of course, we are still continuing our events on a virtual mode, and we will continue to do so until it is safe to get back to the physical events. That said, I think there's been no dearth of activities from our side. We have been regularly hosting quality events virtually, and will continue to do so. And one such example is today's session. That said, I think we are also geared up for conducting physical events once it is feasible. And based on the recent directives from the government, it looks like it will be sooner than later. Coming to today's event, we are very fortunate to have as a speaker Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani, the honorary chairman of Al Zayani Investments. He is one of the most respected business leaders in Bahrain and a pioneer in the corporate governance field in Bahrain. Of course, we have also selected him as the Titan of the month for the month of April. So thank you very much, sir, for agreeing to speak to our members and share the wealth of knowledge in effectively structuring family businesses. So just like our members and all the other attendees, I am also eagerly looking forward to hearing from you. At the end of that session, we will have a very small segment to introduce the Speechcraft program. So BCICI, in its pursuit to enhance the skills of our members, we have been rolling out the Speechcraft programs over the years to enhance the communication skills of the members. And of course, I can testify for the effectiveness of this program as I am one of the beneficiaries of this in the past. So to give more insight on this year's Speechcraft program, we will have CA Venkat Ramana Rao, the president of ICAP Toastmasters, who will make a brief introduction of that. So I will not take much more time. I wish all of you a very interesting and enriching session ahead. And with that, I probably hand back the control to CA Bharat to take the proceedings forward. Thank you.
Thank you, CA Ajay. Let me call upon CA PS Balasubramaniam to give a brief introduction. Yeah, let me call upon CA PS Balasubramaniam to give you a brief introduction on Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani. Over to you, CA Mr. Bialo.
Good evening, Bharat. Thank you, Bharat, for the opportunity, and thank you, Mr. Zayani, for agreeing so generously to be participating with the Bahrain chapter. And as Ajay said, we are all eagerly waiting for listening to you and at least knowing some of the wisdom that you are going to impart to us. I am sure Mr. Zayani doesn't need introduction, but I must say that the Zayani family, the Zayani Investments, is admired for institutionalizing the family business structure, and they have a great respect in the country and the region. And of course, you are going to speak on effective structuring a family business. And it is an honor to present you, sir, to our chapter. Zayani Investments is a dynamic group with a proven track record. It derives strength from its local, solid foundation and its worldwide network of contacts. A policy of investments in profitable national and international businesses and willingness to engage in rewarding joint ventures have established the Zayani Investments Group as a truly successful regional and international enterprise. They operate a diverse portfolio of businesses in the automotive, healthcare, manufacturing, real estate, service businesses, food and beverages. Mrs. Zayani is the chairman of Midal Cables, Metal Foam Company, Aluminum Wheels Company, Gulf Closures, First Motors WLL, Imeris Al Zayani Fused Minerals WLL. Previously, Mrs. Zayani also, among other positions, held the chairmanship of Al Baraka Banking Group, founding member, vice chairman, and chairman of the executive committee of Bahrain Islamic Bank. He is the vice chairman of InvestCorp Holding BSc. And as a matter of fact, Mrs. Zayani is a great proponent of Islamic banking and thinks that India can be the center of Islamic banking in Asia. He is the chairman of the Bahrain Businessmen's Association, Bahrain British Business Forum, founder and co-chairman of US Bahrain Business Council, board member of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Bahrain Family Business Association, president of CISI Bahrain Advisory Council, and honorary board member of the Bahrain India Society. Where actually I interacted with Mrs. Zayani, and he is a great contributor to our society and a great pillar to the society and its strength. And he is also founding member and president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Bahrain. I must say that Mrs. Zayani has held several other positions, but due to paucity of time, I am obliged to hand over the reins to Mr. Bharat, who is the Master of Ceremonies for today. And thank you once again, Mrs. Zayani, for speaking to us.
Thank you, CA PS Balasubramaniam, for the introduction, because that is an introduction which Mr. Khalid Al Zayani truly deserves. Over to you, sir. And one thing I would like to just add on to that is to say that, sir, you are a pioneer when it comes to formalizing a family business and setting up a governance system in place. Our members at BCICA would be interested to know your thought process behind it and how you went about setting it up and making it a success story. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am so delighted and honored to be amongst you today. I don't deserve all of that presentation, Balu. I am humbled by what you've just said. I think the subject of our conversation today is family structuring and preservation of family businesses. This is a subject very dear to my heart because I learned a lot from an experience with my past family business, in which I served for over 20 years as a member of that group, and then eventually shifted to Al Zayani Investments in the 70s, early 70s, to establish Al Zayani Investments, learning few lessons from what I have endured in that family business. Unfortunately, that family business got disintegrated and the partners left the group. And there you are, because they didn't have proper governance, they lost an empire. However, I hope that we, their children, and possibly for many generations to come, with the lessons we have learned, that we will avoid such unfortunate situation. Let me just start by giving you an idea of what was happening at AA Zayani and Sons, Abdurrahman Zayani wa Awlade, the old family business. I think Professor Abdullah would know them very well. We've lived in Bahrain and we've seen the glory of that situation. However, it was chaired by grandfather, Sheikh Abdurrahman Zayani, and the partners were father and two uncles. And it was run with the traditional family ties. I call it barakah. It means everybody comes and everybody works, and whether you produce or not, you're still the son of the family. And it was a very leading situation, very much of a leading situation to a dispute eventually between the sons, let alone the partners. Nepotism always grows under such situation, and control is lost. Motivation is destroyed. And this is what happened. When I joined the group, we were handed each of the three sons that first joined the group, each a department, say, there you are a general manager there. And I was very surprised. I said to my father and uncles, how can I be a general manager? I have no experience. They insisted that, but your cousins agreed. I said, well, I will tell you when I am going to be a general manager and of what, because I want to learn. I'm not in a hurry to be a boss. So I convinced them that they should let me do it at my own pace. And I started truly very low. I remember my first job to do customs clearance. I used to go to Sai in the customs office and clear goods from the port and so on. And I worked in the parts departments, in the accounts, in personnel, and I went just up the ladder, and I wanted to learn. That was the most important part for me. And I had few bosses in every department that I benefited from my experience with them. It was after 3 years that I came to the conclusion that what should be done is that we should not be selling cars, trucks, refrigerators, generators, all the equipment you can find in a general store, all in the one showroom. It had to be separated. We have to have an auto division. We have separated cars and trucks separately. We had to have proper workshops. Move out of Naim, which was very tight. And it took a bit of convincing to tell my uncles and father that. And I said we should get also more agencies. We had then Austin and Land Rover. That's it. So today, then we shifted. I was given the smaller division of the group, which was the auto division. And they allowed me to get on with my vision. So I contacted Mitsubishi, and we got the Mitsubishi franchise, BMW, Chrysler. All these agencies were not part of the group. So Rolls-Royce. And so it just grew into much bigger, much focused department. Then we spread ourselves also outside in the Gulf. In the Gulf, we used to have Land Rover, but we didn't have anything else. So all of these franchises, apart from BMW, were also available in Qatar and what is today called UAE. And business was doing well. Then dispute, unfortunately, started between father and uncles, and This is very fortunate part of our history. And that was due because some people generated income and others didn't. And they were complaining about expenses. Well, without expense, you cannot generate profit. As an accountant, you know that. And so I felt that I had lost my direction. So I submitted my resignation to grandfather, who was the chairman. And he said to me, "Kaddartni," which means you made me very upset. I want you to promise me to be the last son to leave the group. And I know how insecure you are. I said, "Father, grandfather, I have nothing. I don't own my home. I don't have a contract. I don't own my cars. I have children growing. What am I doing here? You have a dispute taking place. I am not a partner and I am not an employed person." So he gave me a check and he said, "Go and do your own thing and promise me to be the last to leave," which I did keep as a promise. So at that time, I established Bahrain Islamic Bank, Bahrain Kuwait Insurance, Midal Cables, Investcorp Bank, and we started growing. Hamid left the group again because Hamid came in, and we started a construction company. And so we grew. But the most important part is not building a business, but building the boundaries and rules and regulations that will contain that business within the family. And this is what I established then by setting up a company that separated ownership from management. In the new venture, we did not have any of the Zayanis as a CEO of any of our companies. There is a total separation between ownership and management. So every company operates on its own merit, at arm's length from the other. It had its own board, its own culture. And as you can see, eventually these companies started competing with each other in the marketplace. You can see Zayani Motors, you can see Euro Motors, Orient Motors, Hearst Motors. They're really bashing each other in the marketplace, and that's healthy. And we went into new ventures. In Midal, we grew from a humble beginning of 12,000 tons. Today, we have a capacity of 300,000 tons. And we are doing major jobs in Europe, in the United States, in Africa, Southeast Asia. You'll be probably surprised that we redid the whole UK grid from Scotland to Wales. And we did exactly the same in Germany. We outfitted the old cable, high tension cable, which was old technology, 40 years old, with modern, good conductivity. And this we won against international tenders. People who came from China, from America, from Europe itself. And that just shows the thought and hard work which was put into such ventures. We have now factories in Saudi Arabia and Mozambique, in Turkey, and we place ourselves there to address free trade agreements and get access to markets that we wouldn't get it out of simply being in the Gulf. So there you are. How did we maintain it? By governance, by separating ownership from management. I can tell you that there is only one person who runs the company, and that is the CEO. And the CEO is a professional. He reports to his own board, which is different from the other boards. And each company has its own culture, its own vision. And the CEO, once he gets his business plan approved, he's free to run, hire, fire, do what should be done. There is a member of the family with him, but as non-executive managing director. In other words, he opens doors for him. He is used as a sounding board for the CEO, but the professional who runs the show is the CEO. And this way, we preserve the family. So what you'll ask, what is the role of the family? Whoever wants to join the group, he must be first well educated, then he must usually master's degree out of European or American university. Then he should work there for at least 2 years so that they learn what the real world is all about. You don't want to come as a son of a Zayani and do your glory backed by a family. Then when he comes in, he has to report to somebody. He cannot report to his father or his uncle. He has to report to a professional CEO. So he or she grows up the ladder. And when they become qualified, could be qualified as a CEO, they get that kind of experience. They do not become CEO. They shift to the ownership group. They sit on the main board of the group, which is Zayani Investments. And as I said, they get appointed to a board of one of the companies. From day one, we've always had non-family board directors from day one. And those people are truly professional people from Ernst & Young, people from law firms, people who are knowledgeable to technologies that we are in. And these persons were members of the board with a vote. I mean, they do have a presence. They don't come there because they are advisors. There's more than that. And this happens as well in the other companies that we have. Some of our companies are 100% owned. Some of it is joint ventures. Some of it public companies like Investcorp, like the other companies that we founded. But all of them are run in this very strict governance. If you take any of our companies today, you can turn it into a public company by just changing the title, because if it is a closed company, as you may well know, it is monitored by the Ministry of Commerce in terms of regulations. Even the WLL companies that we own are still run with the governance of a public company. There's also one important item, which is that there are 3 partners in the company. And these 3 partners are Hamid, Zaid, and myself. And each person is responsible for his own family. So the family affairs do not interfere in the business of the firm. The firm is a money machine. Nobody is bothered about the education of a son or a daughter or a housing matter. That's nothing to do with the company. The company should be clean, crystal clear, focused on what it should be doing. How do we maintain discipline? By applying rules. I remember one of the Zayanis, one of the members of our family, who was not cooperative with his CEO. And one day the CEO, late, just before I left office, came to see me. They said, I would like to see you tonight. And I said, what's the urgency? Leave it till tomorrow. I said, please, I have to speak to you. I'm not feeling very comfortable. So he came from Midal all the way. I waited for him. And he said, I'm having problems with your nephew. He knows his job. He's a great engineer, but he doesn't keep time. He does what he does. And we warned him. We tried to discipline him. There's no way I can do anything. They said, you've done all the rules on the books, all the warnings? He said, yes. I said, all right. What's next? He said, the only thing left for me to do is to fire him. I said, okay, if you don't fire him tonight, you're fired tomorrow. So that put a very strong message to all the members of our family. And my brother Zaid, when he was a chairman, he did a similar exercise with one of our daughters. This is how we kept the family tight. They know each what they have to, the rules of the game. He knows leh wa alayh, which means what should be, what is his right and what is his duty. Many people ask me, how is the relationship between the next generation? I said, it's better than us, the original founders, the sons, the brothers. Another rule that we have made, and it's effective and going strong in the group, is that I made a rule in the 70s that when you are 65, you have to step out of the board. When I became 65, I remember I called my brother Hamid in this office here at home. And I said to him, Hamid, tomorrow I'm going to be 65. I'm going to announce to the press that I am stepping down as a chairman. And you're going to be the next chairman of the group. Hamid got startled and he said, no, why are we doing this? We're doing fine. Our father just passed away. What people will think, that we're fighting with each other? I said, we're not fighting. You're going to step down when you're 65 too. And this is the way. We have to allow the next generation to take over. We have to have a clean, clear succession plan. And we applied that, and Hamid took over. He ran the company till he was 65. Then he handed it over to Zayed, next in line. Zayed became a minister. Next in line, Nawaf, who is only 3 years younger than Zayed. He took over, and now our board consists of the next generation, the sons and cousins and professionals. And it makes me very pleased that not only they are there as people from the family, but they are also owners. Another rule we made, that when somebody reaches the main board, each father will give the son or daughter that reaches the main board part of his equity, so that they are owners of the business. And I gave Nawaf and Majid each 12.5% of my equity in the Al Zayani Investments Group. That made them feel, every son who was there, who is on the main board, made them feel that this company is theirs. And it is theirs. We're not going to take it with us. So they have to learn how to preserve it, to develop it, to do their own thing in it. And when I say do their own thing, let me assure you, since I handed over to Hamid, I have never stepped in his board. I have never stepped in the board of Zayed. I have never stepped in the board of Nawaf. Because if you go there, you will influence their decision making. You might as well be part of that board. And they were able, because they were independent and they are owners, to generate new companies. So those sons who reached the main board, as I said, they were well educated. They had the experience of outside. When they were in Europe or the United States, they had the experience within the group. It took them a few years to reach the main board. So they are not short of experience at all. And they know what they're doing. And because they have time, free time, they are able to create new companies. So every year we are growing as a group. We're entering into new ventures that us as fathers actually didn't even think of. They're thinking of new technologies, new things that we are not used to. Our generation is not used to. And this is the way it should be. They are smarter. I am proud to say they are They are smarter and they are with a different vision. We are learning from their vision and their aspiration. So the whole idea is to preserve the family. I can replace a CEO if he goes wrong. I can't replace my brother or my son or my nephew. I can't do that. I want to preserve the family, and I want their efforts to be focused on creating new business, setting up new companies, bringing the right CEO, and go on doing some other things, opening doors. That's the role of the family. The role of the family is not to be dug in routine work, which can be done much better probably by a professional who's been in that job for many years. I think I'll stop here and allow you any questions that you would like to address.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. One quick question. What advice would you give for someone getting into a leadership position for the first time? What advice would you give them?
What advice? I think one thing I always mention to my brothers and my sons and so on is listen. They have to listen. A leader should not be speaking all the time and thinking that he is the only knowledgeable person. I often said to them, if somebody criticizes you, don't be offended. Listen, because if he is right and you corrected your course of action, then you are a winner. And if he is wrong, you corrected his wrong idea about you. So in both ways, you're a winner. So it's a very strange thing, but our ego stops us from listening. And many of the decisions made when we sit in a board, I allow everybody in the board to say what he has to say freely. And usually we get great ideas out of just listening.
Thank you, sir. We have one question from CA Santosh. His question is, how do you keep yourself motivated even after 65 and still passionate about your business?
Well, as you can see, I'm no longer as an executive chairman of the group. I'm chairman of joint ventures because the group wants me to be still there so that we take the leadership. I am also involved in the banking situation because that is something I started from the early days. I involved myself in a lot of philanthropy projects. We started Rashid Zayani Foundation. This is a charitable organization. And in this foundation, we do a lot of good work to the community. We budget something like 1 million dinar annually for a project in the community. This is not zakah. Zakah is different. This is not what I call tax of God, zakah. This is more like doing the right thing. We do something like 50 scholarships in universities, and we renovate homes for the needy. We have a full team that does that. We started a new company which is to guide people starting their own business, teaching them how to do their own thing. It is so much better to rather than give money to somebody, teach him how to run a business and let him go and do similar thing to others. So this foundation is taking a lot of time from me, you see. So it's exciting.
Sure, sir. We have one more question. It is from CA Ajay. It is, what is your opinion on the corporate governance code established by Bahrain few years ago, and how is this changing the governance landscape?
Well, I was a member of that early committee, and it was pleasant to see such a move made by the ministry. And it was not strange to me because it more or less it was what we are applying within our own group. So I think this is a great move. If we want to preserve family businesses, we should teach them, guide them through proper governance. And I really support what they're doing.
Thank you, sir. We have one question from CA Kannan Sundarajan. His question is, how can we make a family member comfortable if he has different plans and does not feel like continuing in the family business?
We have never forced them to join us. I mean, if you look at our membership who are in the business, we had at one time Afnan, my sister, with us in the business. And when we decided to be out of computers and all of that, when the car divisions started coming back to us as a group, because it was divided between father and uncles when the company was separated. Although these franchises went to uncles and only we received Mitsubishi, eventually more or less all of them came back to us because of the trust and communication these companies had in us as a group, and probably because they didn't know how to run it properly. And we didn't snatch it out of them. We did it through legal process and through the ministry, and whatever the rules were, we paid them full compensation. So we still have very friendly relationships. So nothing brutal about it at all.
We have one question from CA Chinmoy Chatterjee. His question is, any specific learning for the Zayani group during the pandemic, and what has been the takeaway on this so far?
Sorry, say it again. I didn't.
Any specific learning for your group during this pandemic, and what is the takeaway on this?
Well, you can see we are using Zoom right now to communicate. And with the pandemic, a lot of people turned to technology. In our group, fortunately, not because of me, because of the generation of the sons. Nawaf came to me at one stage when I was a chairman, and he said, why are we keeping box files? Too much paper. We don't need that. We need to be everything on. We need to have everything online. Our accounts, our communications. We should train our staff. And I said, what's this man coming from the United States telling me? I kept quiet, and he came back again and again. And we agreed eventually we give him a parallel program. And he said, give me 18 months, I will train the staff and we'll set up a system. And so we allowed him to do so. And now everybody in our group is Microsoft trained, and there are 0 papers in all our businesses, in accounts, in communication between themselves, our factories. We have no paper, simple as that. We communicate with our suppliers all online. We don't send them letters. So very few letters are written. Everything is done online. And I was very surprised. One day we were at the chamber and Zayed was there. That's before he became a minister. And I said, somebody asked me about technology in our group. I said, yeah, we've been over 10 years now in this course. We have paperless companies and so on. And Zayed said, what, 10 years? We've been 26 years. So the generation that took over is so advanced. I am a slide rule man. In those days, there wasn't even a laptop that we could have used. But you see, this is when you allow them their space, they produce some results. So out of this experience, pandemic, we were well prepared for it. It was not strict. It was nothing new to us.
Sure, sir. We have one question from Mr. Ahmed Al Zayani. How do family values contribute to family business success?
Well, in our tradition, Ahmed, as you know, we respect the old person of the family. We give him great approach. And this is not strange to you as within your own family. We maintain that within our family. And when my nephews come to see me, they say Ammi Nawab, and they are very polite. And I always call them my son. We have respect for each other. I think you have that in India too. Maintaining these traditions add value to our business. There's no need to be rude to each other. Even if the son knows better than the father, I don't appreciate if a son boosts an insult or a demeaning attitude to his father. And we maintain that. I maintained it to grandfather, to father, to uncles, even at the worst days.
We have a question from CA Sunil Thakkar. His question is, do you think that eventually equity will be diluted in Zayani Group when there'll be too many members on the board? As a family, how would you address it?
We have only three partners. Three companies: Khalid Zayani, Hamid Zayani, and Zayed Zayani. And whatever equity the sons were given, who are on the board, is part of the equity of Khalid Zayani, Hamid Zayani, or Zayed Zayani. So there will always be maintained three partners in the group to avoid the disputes. Now, if amongst the family of Khalid or Zayed or Hamid, they want to exchange equity between themselves, that's their business. But if they want to sell their equity within the group, of course, preference will be given to the existing partners before it is shifted somewhere else.
Thank you, sir. There's one question by CA Sharmila Sheth. Her question is, do you see any challenges that are more specific to family business, and how do you resolve them?
How do we resolve
issues which are very specific to only family business and probably not to do with the corporate world, something which is only specific to family businesses?
There will always be problems specific to family. Sometimes,
sure. Please go ahead, sir.
Sometimes there is a son who is a bit stubborn. Well, you can't take a stick and hit him. You have to learn how to talk to him, to convince him. If you can't talk to him, maybe his uncle will talk to him. But fortunately, we haven't had that. As I said to you, the relationship between the sons is far better than the relationship I had with Hamid or Zayed, because they have grown into that system, and they know what is the rule of the game.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Actually, this question was similar. Another question had been raised by CA Ramnath. So I think you had answered that question as well.
Okay.
There's one question by CA PS Balasubramaniam. His question is, what has been the three biggest hurdles or problems you faced and the three biggest successes you achieved in the Zayani family in achieving this highly respected status as being the best managed family business?
I think the worst crisis I had was when we started our group. When we started our business, our Al-Zayani Investments, none of the banks will give us any credit. None of the banks. Because we are next in kin to Rashid Zayani, Ahmed Zayani, and Jasim Zayani. And they knew of the disputes of the family. Whatever we did, trying to convince them that we have nothing to do with that group was very hard to pass the message to. And we were charged interest like 12% if we were given. It was sucking us. I remember complaining to Minister Ibrahim Abdul Karim. And I went to see him in his office and I said, how can we survive? And Ibrahim Abdul Karim, when I showed him that we are completely independent of A.A. Zayani and Sons, because they had A.A. Zayani and Sons had disputes with the banks at that time. They did not clear their assets to pay back the banks. I remember him lifting the phone and speaking to Murad and saying to him, why are you charging such high interest? He said, oh, I have problems with their father's loan. So, but he has nothing, they have nothing to do with it. And they're giving you all the guarantees you need. And he said, no, we've taken a policy. He said to him, look, listen, you will give them the running rate. I never forget that for Ibrahim Abdul Karim. That was a major hurdle for us. It was as if we were out of air. We could not breathe. I think the best achievement, the second question you raised, is building the company, bringing the family together, and handing it over. That is the most beautiful part. Holding the family together, building it to the good name and good situation it was in, is recovering our dignity as a Zayani family, and then handing it over to the next generation. That is, alhamdulillah, the biggest achievement.
Thank you so much, sir. We have one question from CA Rajesh Krishnan. He asks, is there a difference in the business approach between the founder family members and then the inheritors?
Yes, they are better than us. We're proud of them. They have brilliant ideas. I mean, we were, for example, good in real estate, but in a small scale. Now they run an empire of real estate. And how they managed it, performed so well in it, in Bahrain and outside. They established companies. They made us enter into new technologies. We didn't have that before. Made us enter into the food industry. We didn't do that before. They have brought to us new businesses, not as traditional cars and the stuff that we're used to. They put us into new ventures like generating electricity out of the sun. We have just launched a new company you may have heard of called Midal Midal, I forgot the name. So this company is generating electricity to run our businesses. And this was initiated recently by Minister Mirza about 3 days ago. We're turning all our factories to be generating their own power. Midal Cables consumes hundreds of thousands of dinars every month on electricity. That will be put to zero because we're going to generate our own power. Our factory in Mozambique is almost finished now. We will be not only generating our own electricity, we'll be also selling to the grid. Our joint venture with the French in Mina Khalifa, that's a 1 million dinar investment into solar energy. Midal Solar, the name of the company. This is the creation of the new generation. So we're very proud of them.
Actually, there is one question from CA Suresh Nambiar. He is asking a very simple question, but it has got a very deep meaning. What he asks is, are there any plans to invest in India?
Yes, definitely. And we tried so hard. I tried to establish Islamic banking into India. And I have been there more than once. And the past Minister of Finance, who passed away, he was very supportive. He allowed me to speak to a conference in Mumbai on Islamic banking. And I explained to them and made a paper that if you like, I will send it to you to distribute it to your people here on what is Islamic banking. The worst mistake we've done was calling it Islamic banking, because that puts the fear of God into your heart when you heard Islamic banking. We should have called it ethical banking, where we don't charge money on money. We share in the risk, profit and loss. And every time we reached there to be given a license, it was shut down. I don't have to explain the reasons. But one day, we will be in a position to come to India and establish good Islamic banking. Now, let me tell you who is benefiting out of Islamic banking. In the UK, for example, you know that an egg-looking building in the city of London, I can't remember the name of it. That was Islamic banking. The sports city in London, that's Islamic banking. We made sukuk for the British government, Islamic banking. We did similar things in Germany, Islamic banking. You know the bridge that connects Asia to Europe in Turkey, that famous bridge, $2 billion, Islamic banking. How much we can do for India in infrastructure projects, railroads, highways. This is the nature of our business. There has to be an asset. If there is no asset, we cannot lend money. We don't lend money on money. Another thing we wanted to do was to establish Midal in India, and that is work in progress. One thing we succeeded in is to establish Investcorp in India. That is very successful, indeed very successful. And we have Indians on our board of directors in Investcorp today, here in Bahrain. Investcorp is no longer the same bank as it used to be, only Gulf citizens on the board. Today, out of the old people who were on that board, probably I'm the only one. Since the very start, when we were selling the idea. Today, our partners and directors are Americans, Europeans, British, Indians, Chinese. We have an office in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Geneva, in London, in New York, and also throughout the Gulf. So we are a different bank, and we were successful in India. So he asked me, did we do something good in India? Yes, Invesco has done extremely well.
Thank you, sir. Actually, there is one question from CA Srivardhan Basa. Just to, I think, take the context of his question, since the Zayani group is heavily into automobiles with agencies of BMW, Mitsubishi, Chrysler. His question is on the lines of electric vehicles and its impact on Bahrain. So is there something which the Zayani group is interested to consider?
Well, the whole industry is going to be electric. In 10 years' time, there will be no petrol or diesel cars. Full stop. For example, Jaguar, Land Rover, they're not developing anymore cars running on petrol or diesel. Volvo, just the same. General Motors is heading that way. BMW is already in the business of electric cars. Volkswagen, no more. All the new cars will be electric. The industry is turning that way. Hyundai is even better than that. They're pioneers in hydrogen cars. This is way ahead. And they are doing a joint venture with Microsoft to produce cars in the United States based on electric cars technology and hydrogen technology. So the whole car industry will eventually turn in that direction. And why am I enthusiastic about solar? Solar is the generator of electricity for the whole world from now on. Saudi Arabia will generate all electricity through solar. They will stop burning gas. They are already in action. In Abu Dhabi, as you know, there is a full city, clean city. In Bahrain, they're working full speed that way too, encouraging the private sector to go in that direction. You know how much we save the government by generating our own electricity? They can sell the gas at a higher price. So we're saving the income of our country. And we will be saving ourselves. So that direction is coming for the whole car industry. We are already going to be importing soon. We have imported from BMW electric cars. They are on the road today. And from Hyundai as well. And from Mitsubishi. There will be a revolution in the car industry.
So there's a question from CA Chinmoy Chatterjee. He asks, if the electric car becomes the future, what would happen to the Gulf countries and the reliance? Because it's an oil-reliant economy. So will these become a tax regime like the rest of the world? This is this question to you, sir.
You'll be very surprised that people in this part of the world have already started thinking and actioning this situation before it lands on them. They will generate out of solar hydrogen. Saudi Arabia already started exporting hydrogen to Europe. Well, that hydrogen will run the power generation of Europe. There is a company called DII, We are founders of that company in Midal 12 years ago. And they are coming to Bahrain. Their chairman is coming back, coming to Bahrain on a visit. They are pioneers in this direction. There is also another American company that we are in contact with that is focused on generating electricity out of the sky. So what will happen to our oil? Our oil is still useful. It will maintain a good price because we are the cheapest of the whole world in production of oil. So we will be the biggest producer of oil, maintain that quality, but it will be used for other purposes. Oil does not have to be burnt to run a car. Oil can be used to produce petrochemicals and more useful and less polluting items, which has higher value than burning a liter of fuel in a car. So, and unfortunately, we are not making the best out of selling oil to cars because the volume of oil that we're selling and getting burnt for pittance is not helping our economy. So there will be another purpose for our oil.
Thank you, sir. Just to add, as you know, BCICI is the forum of Indian Chartered Accountants. And I just like to have your quick thoughts on BCICI and what advice you'd like to give us.
I give you advice. You should be giving me advice. No, we can always learn from your experience. We can always learn from your experience. I remember I mentioned this to you earlier. One very prominent businessman from the United States said to me many years ago, in the 80s, he said to me, "Listen, son, two persons you can't do without when you are doing business: a lawyer and an accountant. If you don't have those two, your business is going to not going to last. How can we do without you?"
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words and sharing your thoughts, your insights on family business. Also answering all the questions raised by the members which were put in the chat box. So I would like to request the attendees to maybe unmute their mics for a few seconds and give you the thunderous round of applause which you truly deserve.
شكرا.
كل حديثك جميل وحلو ونتعلم منه الكثير.
استغفر
الله
الله.
يسلمك نواف. حياك الله.
الله يحييك. جزاك الله خير.
Thank you. Thank you, Balu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Balu.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Now let me call upon our ICAP president, Toastmaster Venkatramana, who will be making the official launch of Speechcraft 2021. Over to you, Toastmaster Venkatramana.
Thank you, Bharat. Chairperson C. Ajay Kumar. Guests, past PCICI chairpersons, a warm good evening to one and all. I'm sure many of us are aware of the Speechcraft program, but let me share a few details about this program before I announce the details of the program for the benefit of the new members, and also what is going to be new for this Speechcraft program, which is going to be in a virtual form for this current year. Let me share how the Speechcraft is beneficial, and at least from my experience. Speechcraft is a scientifically designed, tested, and proven program of Toastmaster International. And this is one of the most cost-effective, time-effective way to improve the skills of speaking, listening, thinking, and evaluating in a very quickest manner. This is what I felt, and I am sure many of the members who are all attended the Speechcraft program in the past would endorse my thought process. Now, what is going to come up in the Speechcraft program, just for the benefit of the new members who have never attended the Speechcraft program or never heard about the Speechcraft program? The entire Speechcraft program is basically of two aspects, if you ask me. The first one and the most important one, which I felt personally, is that it helps you to remove that anxiousness or the anxiety when anyone puts you in front of the large crowd of people all of a sudden and you are unprepared. In short, what I meant to say is that it helps you to train your brain to manage the anxiety. That's one of the simplest and the most advantageous thing which you can gain from getting into the Speechcraft program, apart from improving your communication skills, or I should say the public speaking skills. Like how? In the process of the 6-week Speechcraft program, the members who are all going and their family members who are going to join the program are going to learn how to organize our speech, how to construct our speech, how to relate to your audience. Apart from this, the gestures, the vocal varieties, the visual aids, and finally even the evaluation aspects, how the other person has spoken. So all these things members could gain at a minimum, what I could say, without any cost, a minimum of 2 hours of your valuable time in a weekend morning on a virtual platform, nicely, without traveling anywhere, with a cup of coffee at your hand, and sit down and you can enjoy the workshop. Now the question comes, who is going to taught this program? Let me share one interesting fact. Last 15 BCICI chairpersons, out of these 15, 13 BCICI chairpersons are from the Toastmasters. And I am very proud to say that all these past BCICI chairpersons, many of us are already present in today's seminar, are going to give their thoughts and inputs, and they're going to talk about the communication and leadership skills in the upcoming Speechcraft program. And these people are going to give their valuable time freely to help you to become better presenters and better speakers. So, dear friends, come join for a Speechcraft program. It's a 6 weeks program, every Friday, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And it is specially meant for the BCICI chapter members and their spouses and other family members. We have a limited 15 member slot. As far as the update I have, already 5 are filled, and we have, I think, 10 slots are available. And I urge all the members who have not taken this beneficial program previously, they could also come and enjoy the session. We are all on a service-oriented approach. Every year, BCICI is conducting this program for its members. And we are thankful for even this year for CA Ajay and the XCOM for arranging this program. And this year, this program is going to be special with ICAP Toastmasters and the C2A Toastmasters Club, which has recently chartered last year, has also joined hands to conduct this program for the members and the family members. So please avail this opportunity, and thank you. Over to you, Bharat.
Thank you, CA Toastmaster Venkatramana. I would like to urge all interested members to do enroll for the Speechcraft program. If you're hard pressed for time and cannot join, the program is also open for your spouse. So you can get a small break. Please do give it a go, give it a try. It has been a privilege to be present today to hear a wonderful session by Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani. And on behalf of BCICI and my fellow members, I would like to thank him for accepting our request and enlightening us today. There were numerous learnings for our members. One, willingness to learn before becoming a boss and starting from the bottom and climbing the ladder. Number two, total separation of ownership and management. Number three, keeping growth and progress in mind. Number four, the concept of independent director. Finally, number five, creating a platform to allow for the next generation to come in and have a peaceful succession. So that was a great amount of learning for our members. And I would also take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, KPMG, Grant Thornton, MMJS, Assure Consulting, and Homebox for their support. Last but not the least, you, the members, are the key to success of any event, and your presence today makes this event a grand success. So give yourself a big round of applause. Now for the interesting part, the next interesting part of today's agenda, which is Kahoot. I would like to call upon CA Ajay Kumar to conduct the quiz. Thank you all. Over to you, CA Ajay.
Thank you, Bharat. So I think the number of participants are less, which also on the positive side means the chances of winning are more. So let us start, I think. So I am not explaining the rules of Kahoot. I think most of the people are already very well versed. We've been doing this as a tradition after each of our CPE event. So if you can get on to the Kahoot app or kahoot.it website, and you can enter the game pin, which is 2639350. Please enter with your first name and membership number. Please type in when asked for the nickname, your membership number and first name. So we'll wait for the players to sign in. Bharat is not eligible.
Right.
Yes, sir. So if you are going to win, I will remove you. Don't worry. Anyways, I think we will also be conducting, I mean, as you're logging in, I think I also wanted to inform that I think members have been accumulating commitment points. So you can redeem these commitment points against some of the gifts, or we are going to conduct one Excel program shortly. So I will be sending out the information on that. So that can also be attended fully using commitment points or partially using commitment points. So I think it's quite handy to earn some commitment points. So I do see the numbers slowly picking up. I see about 40-45 members. So comparatively the number of people who have logged in is quite less. Ashok, if you can put your membership number. I don't know why members keep dropping out. Who's Sandwich? Bharat, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All of them, there's a kind of a lull. Ashok, if you are a BCIC member, I would request you to kindly put in your membership number. Sharmila, you're not there. You're not participating.
No, I'm not participating.
You can. You're eligible.
I know.
Anyways,
I just stepped out. I just stepped out. That's it.
Apparently, Ajay, I have participated. It's showing me that I'm in. Okay, it took me 5 minutes to show my name.
Okay. And because I keep seeing the numbers drop.
Yes, actually, there's some issue today, it seems.
Yes, same here.
Same here. It's taking a lot of time to show, reflect the name.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am also. Something went wrong. Sandwich is showing and the spelling correction without that is went in.
I thought it was only my connection.
Yeah, everybody is facing problem. Yes.
Okay. So shall we start?
Yes.
Maybe let's wait till 20.
Sorry, 20? Yeah, I think we have 19. So as Sumit said, if one more person joins, then we can probably start. Yeah, Ram sir has helped. Ram sir, your membership number is not there, but I think we will, it's okay. Shall we start then?
You want me to log out and log in, Ajay?
No, it's fine. I think it'll delay again.
So okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's just start. So here comes the first question. I hope you've been listening.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Can you see the questions?
Okay, just can you call me after? I'm just in part of this thing. Okay, right.
So here comes the first question.
Somebody.
Okay. Mr. Khalid Rashid Al Zayani is the honorary board member of which of the following organization? Is it the Bahrain Indian Club, Bahrain Chapter of ICI, Bahrain India Society, Bahrain India Business Forum? Wow. So I think members have not listened to the introduction. I think he's honorary member of the Bahrain India Society. There's nothing called Bahrain India Business Forum. It's something that I created. There's something called Bahrain British Business Forum. So, but maybe looking at the popularity, maybe we can do it. So Bharat was expected to know that. Right. So let's go to the next question. What is the name of the old Zayani business which suffered due to lack of proper governance? I think he was prominently mentioning the name of the business. Is it AR Zayani and Sons, AA Zayani and Sons, KY Zayani and Sons, BZ Zayani and Sons? So he was repeatedly mentioning this name as the old Zayani business which really suffered and created issues when they were setting up the new business. And most of the people have got it right, so which is good news. So let's see the position. Okay, the top three didn't change because they have all got it right. So I can see Sumit and Ram sir on the top 5. Here comes question number 3. Which among the following is not a brand that Zayani Group is not a dealer of? Mitsubishi, Nissan, Chrysler, Rolls-Royce. Which of these they don't have a dealership? Again, I think very clear. So a couple of people have got it wrong and other things. Let's see the change. Shouldn't be much change. Still pretty much the same. Go to next question. Which of the following businesses Mr. Khalid Zayani was involved in establishing? BKIC, BIC, BNA, BBK. So he has established a number of businesses, Midal Cables, Bahrain Islamic Bank, and so on. So yes, again, most people have got it right. So it's BKIC, which today is known as GIG Bahrain. So the change, Sanjeev has moved to the top. Bharat has moved one position down. Ram sir, everybody is keeping up the pace. So let's see the next question. What is the age limit set for directors on Zayani Group of companies to step down?
The vote.
65, 55, 70.
The top three.
I guess people should have got this right, most of them. Let's see. Yes, as expected, most people have got it right. So the age limit that he mentioned for the Zayani Group of Company Board of Directors to step down is 65, and he set an example by stepping down himself. So he's now only the honorary chairman of the group. So back, so there's been a change. Bharat is back on top. Next question. What, as per Mr. Khalid Zayani, is an important skill for an effective leader? We particularly mentioned one skill. Is it listening? Is it speaking out? Is it being a hard taskmaster or communication?
Yeah.
So
I bet the playing last is the game after. Only about 4 more questions.
Ram sir, you have to mute. Excellent. I think almost everybody got it right. The communication was put in. Of course, it's one of the important skills globally, we know, but I think the context was the particular skill that he mentioned during the speech. So I think shouldn't be much change in the top. Okay, who's sandwich? Santosh?
Myself is sandwich.
Okay. How many partners are there in Zayani Group? So this was mentioned in response to a question. Is it 5, 3, 2, or 6? Mentioned there are these main partners who then divest their shares to their family. So again, right, most of the people have got it right. 15 have got it right. So it's 3. So not much change in the top. Bharat, can I remove you?
Sure, sure. Please go ahead.
I think you should stop answering. What is the biggest hurdle faced by Zayani Group in their inception days? Is it getting the export license, getting the office space, getting bank credit, or is it getting the dealership deals? Excellent. I think most people again have got it right. So good. I think people have been listening carefully. So that changes the position, and Bharat has graciously dropped off. So that brings Ramsar to the top, Sumit, Venkata, Santosh, Sandwich, and Sunil, I believe, Sunil Thakkar. Okay, here comes the second last question. Out of the last 15 BCSA chairpersons, how many were part of ICAP Toastmasters? Should be easy if you had listened to what Venkat mentioned. Okay, so I think people were paying attention, but not all. So I think Venkat mentioned 13 of the past 15 chairpersons have been part of the ICAP Toastmasters. So let's see the position before we move to the last question. So Arun is back in the top 5. And the last question is a little bit retro question. Here it comes. Who was the mentor of the month for the month of March 2021? Is it Meenakshi Sundaram, P.S. Balasubramaniam, Mani Lakshmanamurthy, Kapil Batra? For the current month, the mentor will be released soon. So this is a question for the last month. Who was the mentor of the month for the month of March? And again, most people have got it right. So people have not got it right. Maybe you may want to visit the ICI Bahrain YouTube channel and check out the mentor of the month. So with that, we come to the end. Let's see the results, final results. So third position, Arun. Arun has jumped up from nowhere to come into the third position. Santosh Sandwich is the second place. And the winner for the month is Ram Sir. And I believe Venkat and Rajesh finish up the top 5. So congrats to all of you. And I think that concludes the Kahoot for the day. So enjoy your rest of the evening, and I hope you had a valuable session. And Arun is mentioning sandwiches, indeed sandwich between 1 and 3. Okay.
Yes, thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, dear.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Vivek?
Yes, Ajay, I'm here.
I was waiting for you to be in the top 5 so that I could disqualify you. What is this?
That's why I stopped at 10 only.
Give a chance to people like us, Ajay.
No, he has disqualified me twice. So I was just trying to wait to disqualify him one time.
No, Ram sir. Actually, once Ajay was not eligible to participate, so I had to disqualify him.
Not once, twice.
I have graciously stepped back.
Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you all. Thank you for the participation.
Thank
I know
you.
it's but still, thank you for tuning in, and see you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.